Hey guys, it's Damien again. I've got one last video I wanted to post tonight and do. I've had a lot of questions about selling food on eBay. I do a lot of videos and talking about Amazon. We do have stores on eBay and Etsy and several other places. So really quick, if you're looking to sell on eBay, a couple of quick pointers that I've realized in comparison to Amazon or like Etsy, selling food on eBay is quite easy. They don't have a category approval needed, which is kind of one less hoop for you to jump through. So when it comes to eBay, number one, there's no category approval needed. That is one thing that you sell on Amazon. You're going to sell food. You do have to show quite a bit of information before they allow you to sell in that category. eBay does not have that policy. Also, if you're selling on Etsy, of course, that is a handmade item website, so you can't really resell food products that are already made, like box of chocolates and that type of thing. If you make it, you can sell it, and that's perfectly fine. eBay doesn't have that category, so that is a good thing. The listing process, for my opinion, the listing, when you're making actually a listing for selling a product on eBay, it's pretty straightforward, very, very simple. Right near the end of the listing, when you submit the listing and it comes up on the screen, it's going to ask you to certify to basically say that the item that you're selling is in good condition, it's not expired, hasn't been opened, and all that good stuff. And that's what I'm going to get into now. I've got my board here with a whole bunch of information, so I might be looking over here periodically. So the first thing you have to do is you got to make sure that it has a clearly marked expiration date. And of course, if you're not making the product, pretty much everything that you buy at the store is going to have a either best buy date or an expiration date. So make sure that it has an expiration date, and that date has not been altered. The package hasn't been opened, manipulated, re-stamped, none of that stuff. Make sure it's legible. A lot of times when I first started reselling food products, I would inspect the package very, very well to make sure that the expiration date was legible. Some manufacturers have those automatic stampers, and they may not necessarily make it clear enough for customers to see. My opinion, stay away from it. Find a package that has it clearly marked, because you don't want the hassle of a return or a customer saying that they can't read it when it's best buy, or it's going to expire by, I can't see it, can't read it. You don't want to deal with that. So thirdly, you got to make sure that it's delivered to the customer before the expiration date. That's kind of a common sense thing. You don't want to ship a customer an item that's expired, because obviously you would probably not go to the store and buy an expired pack of eggs and then expect to eat it. So make sure that it's shipped in time before expiration. Now, this information I'm giving you is actually directly from the eBay website. I've known this information for quite some time because I've had to read all of it. But these are not guidelines that I'm making up. eBay specifies that this is stuff that you have to make sure you do if you're selling food or actually health and beauty items. There are some cosmetics that also are kind of best buy. Some cosmetics that over a period of time will dry up or may not be useful. So make sure that if you're looking to sell health and beauty stuff, that's great. There's huge margins you can make, by the way, in that department, that category. But you want to make sure that it's not dried up, it's not been opened, and that kind of thing. So the fourth thing is to make sure that the package hasn't been altered or changed. So when you're looking to buy a product to resell, make sure it has no alterations. No alterations. Here's an example. You have a product that's in a 2-pack, and you thought it would be a good idea to cut it open, and maybe you could sell them separately. I wouldn't recommend doing that. If something comes in a 2-pack, multi-pack, whatever special value that it comes in, keep it in that condition. Do not open it. Don't alter it, because a lot of times those 2-packs on the individual labels, they will state that this is part of a value pack, and enjoy your 2-packs of blah, 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 blah. If a customer sees one bottle and they see that it's been opened or altered in some way, that's going to be a problem. So you just don't want to go down that road. Just don't even bother wasting your time with it. You buy a product from a store or a wholesaler, keep it in that packaging and don't alter it. Leave it alone, sell it, and call it a day. Move on to your next product. Number 5. This one's kind of something that's super important, especially if it's a product that can't take a lot of heat, all artificial light or sunlight. This one is make sure that it's stored safely prior to shipping. A lot of people who aren't familiar with the product, either the shelf life or the type of environment it has to stay in, can buy something that is either heat sensitive. For instance, chocolate during the summertime, during the hot season. A lot of times when I first started selling, I didn't realize it, but a lot of the stuff I would ship out would melt, and I needed to put ice packs in there. So during the time that I actually stored it and I had it at room temperature. It was we started at home, so it was at our house. We kept it at room temperature, and it was okay during transit. Sometimes people use their basements, or they'll use a garage, or they'll use some other part of the home that's not tempered properly, and that'll affect the quality of the product. Some candies, some baked goods, chocolate, anything that can melt, anything that could expire under a certain amount of heat or in a different condition. Make sure that you store the product properly before you ship it. So store the product in a room temperature area that is not going to damage it. And here's a good example. If you buy a chocolate bar and before it came to the grocery store it wasn't stored properly, what you would notice is that with the chocolate bar being wrapped up, you can't see the product inside there. So if it wasn't kept at a certain temperature, it could have either melted and then reset up at a certain room temperature. And between that melt and reset time period where the chocolate sets up, that can either disfigure the color of the chocolate, it can actually disfigure the product itself physically. It just makes the quality of it go down. So these are the things that you might want to keep in mind if you're dealing with food, is to make sure that it's kept within a certain temperature or in a closet, maybe away from light. There's also things such as chips and potato chips and that type of thing that you want to make sure you get to the customer at least several weeks or a couple of months before the expiration date comes out. This isn't exactly about storage, but you want to make sure that that product reaches the customer before an expiration date. Amazon actually has a policy that's really stringent on this. When you're dealing with FBA and you're sending product into them, they will actually ship the product back to you within, I believe it's, I have to double check this, I think it's 5 months. So if you ship a product out and it has an expiration date of October 10th, and there's a 5-month window that item's in inventory, and it still has not sold, Amazon will automatically pull that product out and dispose of it. If I'm not mistaken, the policy is that they won't even send it back to you. They're just going to get rid of it, and you end up paying the storage fees up to that point that they pulled it out. So Amazon is a little more strict about this, but of course that operation FBA is a little different because they're actually storing the product for you. On eBay, they don't have that type of setup just yet. But when you're storing it, you want to make sure that product reaches the customer prior to its expiration date. Not by a couple of days, because the customer may not consume the product in 2 days. If it's a bag of chips, if it's a large package of cookies, there's some items, of course, that have a longer shelf life. Dried beans and rice and canned goods, that's different. But things with a very short expiration date, keep that in mind. If you want to get in the business of selling that, you want to get it to the customer months before it's due, as soon as possible. Amazon's much different, and they don't put up with anything that's going to be a 5-month out window prior to its expiration time. So, and I actually think that that's a great thing. Those rules and regulations and such, Amazon is a little more of a stricter on things, but it raises the standard of how you operate your business and how they want their customers to have products. And I think it's fantastic. As long as you can calculate and you can figure that out with your selling habits and the way that you operate your business, you can get them products in time and they can get it to the customer, and everybody, it's a win-win. So I hope that short tidbit video, I don't want to hold you guys up too much longer. I wanted to do a real quick one on eBay because, like I said, I had a lot of emails, people asking about that. So just follow those few tips. I'm going to do several new videos, of course, on eBay, and I'll do some more, elaborate more on that. But those are the 5 things that you really need to keep in mind when you're doing it. So I hope you like my videos. Please do give me a thumbs up. If you have someone that you know that would benefit from my videos, please let them know. Share my videos with them. Keep checking out over the next 2 weeks. I probably should have that channel up and running in about 2 weeks or so. Then I'll start getting more information and more videos on there for you guys. So I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Take care.